Richard Rawlings had it all: fame, fast cars, and a hit TV show that turned him into a household name. But behind the roaring engines and million-dollar builds, a storm was brewing in his personal life. The fast and loud star found himself on the brink of losing everything, not to a business deal gone bad or a failed build, but to a devastating divorce that would test him like never before. This is the untold story of the divorce that nearly ended Richard Rawlings' career. A tale of love, won and lost, empires built and almost broken, and one man's fight to keep his world from crumbling. Welcome back to Tuna No Crust, the largest car TV show news on YouTube. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Let's roll! Richard Rawlings wasn't always a reality TV mogul. In 1999, he married Suzanne Marie Mergel in Las Vegas, long before Gas Monkey Garage became a global brand. Back then, Richard was hustling odd jobs from firefighting to law enforcement to fund his automotive dreams. When he opened Gas Monkey Garage in Dallas in 2002, it was just a small hot rod shop with big ambitions. Suzanne was more than a supportive spouse during those grinding early years. She was an active business partner. She reportedly managed aspects of the Gas Monkey Bar and Grill when it launched, ensuring the brand expanded beyond the garage itself. While Richard worked on cars, Suzanne helped build the empire. The garage gained local fame for its killer car flips, bolstered by Richard's outsized personality. In 2007, he set a Cannonball Run world record, driving from New York to LA in 31 hours, a testament to his relentless drive. When Discovery Channel came calling in 2012 with Fast and Loud, the Rawlingses went from Dallas entrepreneurs to international TV stars overnight. Fame brought fortune, but also fractures. As Richard's career accelerated, he spent more time filming and chasing cars, less time at home. The Gas Monkey brand expanded furiously with new merchandise lines, restaurant plans, and music venues. The very qualities that made Richard a compelling showman, his energy, ego, and relentless work ethic, made it difficult for him to slow down and connect at home. Suzanne had married a car-obsessed businessman. Now she was living with a full-blown celebrity. The pressures of sudden stardom began straining their bond, setting the stage for the turbulence ahead. In 2009, after 10 years of marriage, Richard and Suzanne Rawlings divorced for the first time. The split was as surprising as it was hush-hush. There were no explosive scandals, no tabloid betrayals, just the slow realization that their lives had veered onto different tracks. At the time, Richard wasn't one to publicly dish on personal troubles, but hints emerged later about what went wrong. We got divorced while all the Gas Monkey and Fast and Loud stuff was happening, and it was hard for her to put up with it, Richard later admitted. He was always traveling, often gone for weeks on end, chasing car deals or filming segments, leaving Suzanne to hold down the fort. Being a charismatic star in the car world came with temptations. As Richard bluntly put it, "I'm gone." And of course there are lots of girls out there. That lifestyle eroded the foundation of their marriage. Suzanne hadn't signed up to be a reality TV wife, and suddenly her husband's ego was growing as fast as his celebrity. Gas Monkey's meteoric rise meant Richard doesn't listen to anyone except himself. With the rise and success of the show, so did his ego. One account later observed, "It's hard to stay grounded at home when the world treats you like a rock star." The 2009 divorce came and went quietly. No public mudslinging, just irreconcilable differences filed in court. Richard was roughly 40 years old then, on the cusp of superstardom, but already bearing the scars of a broken marriage. Suzanne stepped out of the limelight and remained friendly with Richard in the years that followed. Those close to them say there was no bad blood. They simply drifted apart under the weight of Richard's ambitions. In the aftermath, Richard threw himself even harder into his work. If the divorce caused him pain, he channeled it into Gas Monkey's expansion. By 2013, he opened the first Gas Monkey Bar and Grill in Dallas, a sprawling restaurant and music venue. And by 2014, he'd launched Gas Monkey Live, a 3,000 capacity concert hall. The empire was growing, and Richard's persona as the untouchable car rebel grew with it. And speaking of rebuilding after tough times, nothing resets you like a good night's sleep. This video is sponsored by Brooklyn Betting. Use code TUNANACRUST for 30% off at brooklynbetting.com. Bad sleep wrecks everything. Energy, focus, even mood. A weak mattress means a weak day. Brooklyn Bedding has been making mattresses since 1995. Designed, assembled, and shipped from their Arizona factory. No middlemen, no markup, and premium materials at a fair price. I went with the Sedona Elite Twin Size, a dual inner spring luxury hybrid built for cooling, comfort, and pressure relief. Twin fits my space perfectly. The Sedona Elite nails it with a glacial Tex Plus cooling cover that keeps you comfortable year-round, copper-infused memory foam that stays cool and clean, and a double coil system, micro-wrapped coils for pinpoint pressure relief and ascension coils for edge support and motion isolation, and zero fiberglass. None of that shady stuff online. I've been sleeping on this mattress for a while now, and honestly, it's a huge upgrade. For me, it helps fall asleep faster, stay cooler through the night, wake up without back stiffness. That's why I love it. It actually fixed problems I had with my old bed. Not sure which model's right? The sleep quiz dials it in. Just share a bit about yourself and it takes the guesswork out. It even factors in whether you sleep hot on your side or with a partner, so the match feels tailored to you. You'll get a personalized recommendation in minutes, and they back it with a 120-night trial, a limited lifetime warranty, and free US shipping. Factory direct pricing means premium without the markup. After a long day of wrenching in the garage, trying to be the next Richard Rawlings, I can't wait to crash on my Sedona Elite. I've been sleeping on it long enough to know it's a real upgrade. It shows every morning. I fall asleep faster, stay cooler through the night, and roll out sharp. I love my Brooklyn Bedding mattress, and I think you would too. If you're looking for a new bed, go to brooklynbedding.com or scan this code. Use code TUNANOCRUST for 30% off. Sleep better, perform better, simple. Now let's get back to the video. By the mid-2000s, Richard Rawlings was on top of the world professionally. Fast and Loud was a smash hit, eventually spanning 16 seasons, and even the New York Times had named it one of the 50 most popular TV shows in the world in 2016. Rawlings had launched a string of business ventures, from the Dallas bar and music venue to energy drinks, and even a branded cinnamon tequila for the party crowd. But something, or rather someone, was missing. Despite the models and adoring fans that surrounded the fast-talking entrepreneur, Richard never lost contact with Suzanne after their 2009 split. Their post-divorce relationship remained amicable, even warm. As Richard later hinted, there was always a spark there, quietly waiting for the right time to ignite again. That time came in late 2014. Richard and Suzanne began spending time together again, and the old feelings resurfaced. Perhaps Richard, now a little older and hopefully wiser, realized that the ride isn't as much fun without someone to share it. In January 2015, the couple shocked everyone by remarrying in Cabo, Mexico. Under the Cabo sun, Richard and Suzanne said, "I do," once more, determined to make it work this time. The car world was abuzz at the news. The gas monkey guru was giving love a second chance with the same woman. Richard seemed genuinely overjoyed. At the time, he openly acknowledged why the first go-round hadn't lasted. Fame and work had come first, and it hurt their marriage. "We got divorced while all the gas monkey and Fast and Loud stuff was happening. It was hard for her to put up with," he admitted, vowing that this time would be different. Those early years of the reunion were by most accounts happy. Suzanne brought a dose of calm to Richard's rock star world, and she joined him at events, even appearing to enjoy parts of the gas monkey lifestyle that once drove them apart. This wasn't the shy private spouse staying in the shadows anymore. Suzanne was often seen at Richard's side during Fast and Loud premieres and gas monkey parties. They settled into a rhythm, Richard juggling TV shoots and business deals, Suzanne often managing things at home and possibly advising on the Gas Monkey Bar and Grill, which she co-owned with him. Fans of Fast and Loud, if they paid close attention, sometimes caught references to Richard's wife, but the show mostly kept his private life off screen. Even Richard's closest friend and Gas Monkey garage foreman, Aaron Kaufman, noticed the positive change in Richard's demeanor during that period. The brash boss seemed a bit more at ease, as if some personal void was filled. But if this were a movie, here's where the ominous foreshadowing music would creep back in, because old habits die hard. As Fast and Loud entered its later seasons, Richard's schedule became crazier than ever. The show's success meant more demands from Discovery Channel, special episodes, crossovers, public appearances. By 2018, Rawlings was not just running a garage, he was managing a mini media empire. He had opened a Gas Monkey restaurant in Harker Heights, Texas, expanded the brand to Florida with a Key West location, tension and was juggling lawsuits and investments. The very success he had chased was again pulling him away from domestic bliss. Suzanne started to feel the strain anew, according to those close to them. It was as if history was repeating itself. Richard off globe-trotting and deal-making. Suzanne left lonely in Dallas. Perhaps Richard thought that having won Suzanne back, he could now focus on conquering the business world unchecked. Perhaps Suzanne thought Richard would eventually outgrow the need to say yes to every opportunity. Neither was completely right. By late 2018, the couple's friends sensed distance growing again. Publicly, nothing seemed amiss. No gossip columns catching wind of trouble. But behind closed doors, tension was mounting. The pressure wasn't just personal. Richard's business empire was facing challenges. The Gas Monkey Bar and Grill's management had filed a $6 million lawsuit against him in mid-2018, accusing Richard of defamation and meddling with the business. Rawlings, never one to back down, countersued the following year. The fight got ugly, with bar employees describing Richard as a spoiled 13-year-old who disrupted operations. So as personal tensions mounted at home, Richard was also literally fighting to keep the Gas Monkey Bar and Grill from disowning his name. The stress was written on Richard's face during this time, even if he kept up his trademark bravado in public. Richard Rawlings filed for divorce from Suzanne in March 2019, ending their on-again, off-again marriage for good. 10 years after their first divorce, the couple was calling it quits permanently. This time, Richard addressed it publicly, posting on social media after TMZ broke the story. Suzanne and I have mutually decided that we will be separating and getting a divorce. We'll always be friends and be there for each other. We had a hell of a ride for 20 plus years. The timing couldn't have been worse. Rawlings was filming season 15 of Fast and Loud after an extended hiatus that had fans speculating about behind-the-scenes problems. He was also starring in Garage Rehab's second season while battling the ongoing lawsuit with Gas Monkey Bar and Grill's management. Juggling TV production schedules, legal battles, and a crumbling marriage took its toll. Richard later admitted having to smile for cameras and deliver his signature, "Get you some of that," while dealing with divorce lawyers and dividing up 2 decades of shared life. The divorce was finalized by May 2019 in just 2 months. The settlement was amicable but costly. Richard paid Suzanne $300,000 in lump sums and covered the remaining $80,000 note on her 2019 Mercedes-Benz SL 450 Roadster. In return, he kept his possessions and, most importantly, his 1968 Ford Shelby Mustang GT 350H Fastback, jokingly referred to in court documents as their only child. With no kids and minimal public drama, Richard Rawlings was officially single again by summer 2019. As Richard's personal life imploded, his business empire followed suit. Suzanne's departure ended her informal involvement in Gas Monkey's ventures, including the troubled bar and grill. The timing proved catastrophic. The Dallas location was already embroiled in legal battles that would force Rawlings to walk away entirely. By 2020, the restaurant severed ties with Gas Monkey, rebranding as Amplified Live without Richard's involvement. The broader restaurant chain crumbled quickly. The Key West Gas Monkey Bar and Grill had already shuttered in late 2018, and the flagship Dallas location was struggling. Most devastating was the closure of Gas Monkey Live Concert Hall in May 2020 after 6 years. Citing unprofitability, Rawlings' vision of a live music empire was dead. Gas Monkey Garage itself was hemorrhaging talent. Aaron Kaufman had left in 2017, and other fan favorites were either fired or spun off amid controversy. Former employees described Richard as increasingly difficult, with one comparing his behavior to a spoiled 13-year-old during the restaurant debacle. High turnover plagued the shop, and viewers noticed Rawlings' trademark enthusiasm seemed forced in newer episodes. In October 2020, Richard dropped his biggest bombshell yet. Fast and Loud was over. Appearing on the Joe Rogan Experience, he announced his split from Discovery after 16 years.
I have exited Discovery, and I'm a free agent. What?
The decision shocked fans who couldn't imagine Gas Monkey without its flagship show. Richard cited creative control as the primary factor. Discovery's contracts restricted his social media presence, requiring him to promote network content while limiting posts about personal ventures. "It was a perfect storm. It was time for me to expand," he explained, quoting Stevie Nicks. "I think I have to go my own way."
I think I've got some other things, some other cats I want to skin, some other things I want to get into.
Well, I mean, what does extended vacation mean?
To quote Stevie Nicks, I think I have to go my own way.
The decision was simultaneously bold and perilous. Fast and Loud had built Richard's fame and Gas Monkey's brand. Walking away meant sacrificing his primary platform and income source. Industry observers worried the garage might fade from mainstream view without television exposure. The $300,000 divorce settlement, shuttered venues, lost TV revenue, and ongoing legal costs. For the first time, the Gas Monkey empire was contracting rather than expanding. Those close to Rawlings described him as emotionally drained, with business associates quietly questioning whether he'd overextended himself. Between 2019 and 2020, Richard Rawlings faced his darkest period, juggling lawsuits, divorce, and business closures that would sink most entrepreneurs. He was betting everything on his ability to rebuild without the safety net that had carried him to success. Richard doesn't stay down long, in business or in love. Barely a few months after splitting from Suzanne, Richard found love again, this time with a tall brunette bombshell named Katerina Deason. Katerina, herself freshly out of a long marriage to a billionaire businessman, crossed paths with Rawlings in 2019. Their chemistry was instant, and Richard didn't hesitate. In August 2019, just 5 months after his divorce was filed, Rawlings proposed to Katerina in a bed of rose petals at a resort in Mexico. She said yes, and suddenly Richard was embracing a new chapter at full throttle. The engagement raised some eyebrows. Was it too soon? Was he on the rebound? But Richard swore this was the real deal, calling Katerina his best friend and soulmate in a gushing post. The two tied the knot in Key West in June 2020, quietly exchanging vows in the middle of pandemic times. By 2021, Richard was referring to Katerina as the one who saved him, bringing balance to his life that had been missing. With a supportive new wife and a leaner, meaner business model, Rawlings steered Gas Monkey back on course. He returned to his roots, focusing on incredible car builds and engaging directly with his fan base via social media and live events. Without a reality TV crew shadowing him, Richard seemed more relaxed, more in his element. Gas Monkey Garage became a hotspot for YouTube content, and Rawlings teased that they were doing some of the most incredible builds ever, unfiltered by any network. By 2020, Rawlings' focus shifted to digital content. He hinted at starting a podcast and putting more energy into Gas Monkey's YouTube channel where he could reach fans directly. In a sense, it was a return to basics. Richard, his cars, and his unfiltered personality without a network calling the shots. Fans, many of whom grew up watching Fast and Loud, migrated to follow him online. In a sense, the crisis had passed, and the legend of Gas Monkey was reborn in a new medium. Gas Monkey Garage is still very much alive and kicking, with new ventures like an off-road park and a planned Gas Monkey whiskey distillery rumored on the horizon. He's also been making amends, reconnecting with old colleagues like Aaron Kaufman on podcasts, and maturing from the hard-partying persona of his 30-somethings and 40-somethings into a slightly mellower, but no less passionate car fanatic in his 50s. Richard Rawlings nearly lost it all. Marriage, empire, identity, fame, and fortune pushed him to the edge, but the divorce that almost ended his career became the reset that saved it. The empire was dented, not destroyed. So what do you think split Richard and Suzanne? Was it fame, fortune, or just two lives drifting apart? Drop your thoughts below, smash that like, hit subscribe, and ring the bell for more untold stories from the car world. Until next time, keep your engines running.